allegedly sexually molesting a child that was in the store. That child was shopping in the store with his mother. She and other victims were transported to Nassau University Medical Center and Winthrop University Hospital. Mayor Michael Bloomberg was here stopping by, visiting with those patients, also speaking to family members. Additionally, he tells us he spoke to hospital personnel here and medical practitioners. The good news, he says, the flight crew felt threatened and decided to cancel the flight. A U.S. Army Corps of Engineers study has called on a plan that would basically ring the village with a sheet pile wall. Leg in.
Yep, perfect.
Slam it. We're about to take this Cirrus plane down to the ground and land. In 20 minutes, we went up the Connecticut shoreline, crossed over to the Hamptons, and came right back to West Harrison again. This is actually the safest place to be. Take a look as I try to access this bus stop. A proposal developers insist will turn this Long Island landmark into a hustling, bustling center once again.
I see you're inside again. I have to say, Hanan, you win the award for smartest reporter this morning.
There's really literally not much the plows can do until we get about to an inch and a half of snow on the local roads. I am joined today by DPW Commissioner Tom Stay. What is the situation? Is there potential opportunity for flooding? What do we have to look forward to?
Sure, well, that's the concern. Obviously, if this turns to rain, especially.
This piece of technology over here, we're going to mention that. Can you tell us a little bit about what we're looking at, the orange machine right over here? And
really just be safe.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Tom. Again, you heard it. If you don't need to be out there, stay home and stay safe. Many are calling 52-year-old Sergio Consuegra a hero, but he tells us when he saw the bloodied and beaten body of Alexian Leon laying on the ground right here on 178th Street in Washington Heights, he was frightened, but knew he had to do something.
I say to them, that's it, guys. Let it go, man. Let it go. We stood at each other, looking at each other's faces. And somehow they stopped.
Moments later, Consuegra called 911.
I started talking to the cops. I started explaining to them, send everybody. Send everybody. Because this has been an incident here in which a man he might be there. I don't know.
Since the incident, several of the bikers have been charged in connection to the assault, and we've learned the group included several off-duty police officers. One of those bikers charged is 35-year-old Robert Sims. His attorney insists the case is loaded with bias.
I just don't understand how they are not even considering the fact that he run over somebody. The victim has minor injuries, lacerations.
Last year, the same motorcycle rally had nearly 1,000 bikes driving down Broadway. This year, NYPD tells us tougher measures enforced in the outer boroughs decreased the number of motorcyclists that actually made it into Manhattan. In Washington Heights, Hanan Kamal.
You feel like disbelief.
I just paused because it was so devastating. We canoed to the front door.
Val Mangelli, Katie Byrne, and Helen Ober, friends and residents of 16th Street in Bayville. They were left in shock after Sandy devastated their North Shore neighborhood.
Our block, it's underwater. Oh, man.
My husband came back early in the morning, and he said, just come in with your boots and we'll canoe home. I'm not used to it ever taking, but it was the first time I had to sit there and say, I don't even have a sheet, I don't have a coat, I don't have a pair of shoes for my kids.
Their home is a village of 7,000 people, less than 1.5 square miles, and virtually surrounded by water. Several of the neighbors captured what they experienced during the storm in online videos and images.
And that's the seawall. That's where our beach should be. Days like this, I'm glad I have a...
Devising storm mitigation plans was a straightforward task for most Long Island communities, not for Bayville, a village cynics call a glorified sand dune. There is still no firm project on the table to guard against future storms, but there are some ideas. A U.S. Army Corps of Engineers study has called on a plan that would basically ring the village with a sheet pile wall encased by a stone and sand berm. But Mayor Douglas Watson says he doesn't believe the entire village needs to be walled in.
We don't have to protect something that's basically grass and wooded area. So we can protect the parts where the water does come in and affects the people's homes. It'll be money wisely spent, It'll be a smaller project, so it's more likely to get done.
Mayor Watson hopes federal recovery money will turn the ideas into action. Bayville has come a long way in the past year, but the mayor wants to make sure the village never again suffers what happened during Sandy. Homes were flooded and a vital span was knocked out of service. It took almost 7 months to reopen the Bayville Bridge and West Shore Road. In that time, Bayville seafood manager Rick Ballstrom says his firm and neighboring stores lost nearly half of their business.
When the road was out, this end of town became like a ghost town because out of sight, out of mind. People didn't come to this end of town. They drove around the other way.
Another victim of the superstorm was the Bayville Haunted Firehouse. The event has drawn large crowds and raised funds every year since 1990. Organizer and Bayville firefighter Henry Incarnation says they lost everything when water filled the firehouse basement.
You can picture this area down here with about this much, 4 to 5 feet of water.
And he says the money needed to hold the popular event just isn't there.
Minimum, maybe $150,000 to rebuild.
But the people of Bayville say their village is resilient.
One thing about this town, Bayville comes together. We didn't have a lot of outside help. What we did have was inside help.
Even if their village is completely restored, residents say since Sandy, their lives and their outlook will never be the same.
And I'm so specific in taking care of everything. Now I don't care about my brand new wood floors or my children are running around. I'm just like, whatever.
In Bayville, Hanan Kamal, Files 1 News.